Mr. Chong has done much self-research into prosthetics, and today he sources his own components and does most of his own configuration and alignment for his prosthesis. He leads an active life and constantly interacts with other positive amputees to help and encourage greater mobility as amputees. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Chong Wei Tatt.
Hi, my name is Wei Tatt. As you can see, I'm a above knee amputee. Yeah? So just to gauge, so I take it that everybody here is maybe sort of practicing in the medical profession or either in the prosthesis profession. So let me go through a bit of what I've gone through. Okay. Now 4.5 years ago, I had a paragliding accident in Singapore. As a result of that, I crushed both my legs, and unfortunately, because I actually had my operation about 12 hours after the event, I had sepsis, complications. As a result, I lost my right leg above the knee. So, and that was me after about 6 weeks in ICU. So it was quite a major accident. You can see even my good leg itself is, I have a good leg I'm very fortunate that's actually managed to save my good leg. Okay, so the hospital. So as soon as I came out of the hospital, I was back when I was back home, got a wheelchair, and immediately I wanted to be active. Yeah, that was the first thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to remain active. So I got a good wheelchair, and I basically gave me a lot of mobility, despite the fact that I had lost one leg and I still had fixators on my left leg that suffered quite a fair bit of damage. So now I'm a photographer. I try to lead an active life. I try to do everything. I try to lead as a normal life as possible, and I think that's something I would encourage all amputees to do. Yeah, so you see that this was Cambodia. I climbed up to Angkor Wat. Yeah, I do try a lot of things every day in my normal life, and I try to swim. I have a scooter. I get on my bike. So these are things that, for you, is something that you take for granted. For me, it's something that's experimental. Yeah? For example, getting on the scooter. Which leg do I get on? How do I stop? How do I, do I get down on do I stop on my good leg or do I stop on my prosthetic leg? Yeah? So all this is things that we have to sort of explore for ourselves. I keep in contact with amputees as well as people who have prostheses, because I think the shared experience is very important. Yeah? I like this group here, I have someone who's a lower, below knee amputee, that's Winnie. I've got someone that's hip disarticulation that walks and crutches. I've got someone that's going through the process of an amputation now and has only been sort of on his prosthesis for four months. So basically, I find we learn a lot from each other. Yeah, and basically, this is my support group. We help each other, and we have a lot of experience that we sort of gather from each other, because everybody's experience is different. I've been amputee for 4.5 years. Yeah, the initial part of it, I think, was very difficult in terms of trying to get knowledge about what I should do as an amputee. Where would I go to get find a good prosthesis? What my options are, and most places I go to did not spend a lot of time to try and educate me on what my options are. Yeah. Today, having done a lot of trial and error by myself, I know that suction suspension for me works very well, much better than a pin lock. And most places you go to, they would default to give you a pin lock because maybe that's the easiest one for them to make. In terms of knees, would you go for a locking knee? Would you go for a multi-bar knee? Would you go for a hydraulic knee? Or would you go for a microprocessor knee? And what's the difference between all of them? Yeah? I can tell you, having gone through all of them, I've used an OSA 1800, I've used an Orthobock 3R60, I've used an Orthobock 3R80, I've used a Morse knee, and basically I'm using a real knee today. I've used all of them. I can tell you the experience and difference in all of them. Of course, there's a big price difference in all of them, but nevertheless, the quality in life that I can lead, I think is worth the investment. A lot of people come up to me and ask me to look at my knee. Abang, how much you spend on your knee? And then they balk, when I've done 40 to 50,000. And most people react, wow, that's a lot of money. Then, I look at it back then, they're driving a Camry, this is probably $150,000 car that they're going to spend, they're going to pay for in installments for the next 7 years. Yeah? So I ask yourself, if I were to pay $100,000 for a knee, that gives me mobility and lets me lead an active life and let me lead life to the fullest and still allow me to function as a photographer, is that worth it? As compared to driving a car that you're going to depreciate over 7 years and then sell off and buy another car? So I think we need to put things into perspective. Yeah. So my closing would be this. I really welcome this. I think the initiative of setting this up is something that I feel very excited about because it's the beginning of something, bringing communities together and basically making information more transparent and giving a platform for people like myself to give, to sort of give back to the community, because I do want to see people more active. I don't want people stuck in wheelchairs. Sometimes I go to shopping malls, I see people using crutches and I see people using wheelchairs. I ask, why aren't you using a prosthesis? And basically, there are many reasons. Sometimes it's cost, sometimes it's too difficult, sometimes they don't have the right training, sometimes, they don't know that option is there, And many people, when they see me walking, they'll come up to me and ask me, hey, where did you make that? How did you, who do you see, where's the doctor and all that? So that tells me that people don't know such options exist. Yeah? And doctors, I think, are very good at treating you medically, but there's a gap between doctors and prostheses. When I met my doctor, when he did my amputation, he did my treatment for my orthopedics and all that. At the time, I was naive. I thought he was the one that's going to help me with my prosthesis, But basically, at the end of the day, he shook my hand, when I discharged and say, you can go and see these people. I hear that they are good, yeah? So that tells me that they don't really interact much with the prosthesis in terms of, and I think these two professions really need to talk to each other, because the way my leg is amputated, as Dr. Shari had described earlier, has a major impact on what kind of suspension, what kind of knee, what kind of mobility I will have in the future. But these two parties don't talk. And likewise, when I go to the prosthesis, I think they should spend a bit more time to understand the patient and explain what options there are based on their evaluation of the patient's future mobility. So obviously, you want the patient to be as mobile as possible. Yeah? So, and the kind of the equipment that you recommend makes all the difference. If right out the gate you give someone a locked knee, then, and they're not going to be able to afford to buy a better knee for 2 or 3 years, they're stuck with that knee. Yeah? Or young person, I see some young people, they instead of going for a more active knee, they get recommended a default knee. And I think that's not doing good service to the person that has aspirations to be more active in their life. Right? So I think I close on this. I'm very excited. I thank all the organizers for setting this conference up. I hope I'll be able to participate more in the future, and I hope this is a good starting point for all of us to have a collective dialogue for the improvement of prosthesis, usability, accessibility, and mobility for patients. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chong. I open the floor for any questions, inquiries.
Thank you for this inspiring talk. I can see the positive spirit and mood you have. That's great, I think.
Thank you.
You are setting a brilliant example for us to appreciate what we have and what we should do for this community. So my question is about a survey we conducted in Australia on prosthetic hand users. And in the survey, we asked prosthetic hand users about saying that, look, we are in the 21st century, the technology has progressed so well. And we asked them, what do you want in a new prosthetic hand? So if I change this question for your case, somebody who is highly educated, who knows what has happened, who knows how to be happy, that's what I understand. So what do you want, ideally, in a prosthetic device suiting to your case? If you can enlighten us about what we want in a new prosthetic hand, hopefully we can take on board in our research.
Okay, oh, very good question. It's something I think about very much. Now, I think but in Malaysia, I think we would like to go back to basics. You know, we have access to all sorts of needs. We have access to all sorts of even microprocessor feeds and very active components here in Malaysia. But having been a prosthetic user for the past 4 years, the most important thing is the socket. You can have the best components. You can have a genuine a knee that probably costs $300,000 from the US military. Yeah? But if your socket is not good, you're not going to be able to walk any better than someone that has a simple 4-bar knee. Yeah? So I think in Malaysia, I get that we have quite a young and new prosthesis CPO fraternity here. I understand that at least that initiative has started, but they need more experience. Yeah? They need to actually fit more people, and they actually need to fit people with the intention that they want to push the envelope and get them walking better and fitting better on with their sockets. So, for example, for an above knee amputee like me, what are the options? You have the typical one. They'll go for an ischial containment socket, or they'll go for a hybrid socket. But some people don't even know what socket they're making. They're just making based on experience. Yeah? And they know that you have to sit on the ischial seat. They know that it has to support you. Some weight bearing at the stump. They know that it has to give you some support around the thigh. And basically, I get the feeling there's not a lot of science in it. And so I think that making a good socket is not pure science. It's not pure art. It's a good balance between that and someone that with a good sense of a feel and experience, and someone that's able to communicate well with the patient. So before we go to my hope is that we can elevate the skill level of prosthesis in Malaysia, so that they can make, to begin with, a good fitting socket. The rest is gravy. The rest is a bonus. The rest are things that we can upgrade, like an engine of a car. But for a car to run well, it has to have a good set of tires. It has to have a good suspension, and basically that's the same with a prosthetic socket.
Very good morning, and also I'm very impressed with the way you did the presentation. It's very motivating. You're looking at life very positively, and a positive approach. This is really motivating for me. The thing is, talk about the awareness. People don't even know such prosthetic limbs is available. This is common in Malaysia. How can we tackle this problem? Because I've seen nobody talks about it. I've met some people with no leg and all those things. They're living with either in a wheelchair, or they have some other alternative things. They don't really go for a scientific prosthetic limb and all those things. How can we create the awareness? Or Is it a responsibility of the hospital and the doctors to educate the people that such thing is available and tell them how to use them and all those things? Do you think this option is available currently?
Okay. Thank you for the question and thanks for the encouragement. What I will say is this, the good news is it's getting better. The fact that we're having forums like this is a good first step. The fact that we have social media, we have people talking positively about like life as an amputee. Yeah? I think that message is much easier to spread these days. Yeah? With WhatsApp and all that, for example, I have got a WhatsApp group with 20 over members. I started with 2 people. Yeah? So I hope to grow that WhatsApp group because we help each other. The community is there, and I think the doctors should educate the patients that they have options. The prostheses have a role to. You go to most prosthesis waiting rooms. It's a depressing place. You go there and people are sitting and they are in wheelchairs. People are in pain and they are in difficulty. But I think we can make that a much better, encouraging experience for them. So I think, and I'm starting to see some centers beginning to do that. It's not a place where you go in and it looks like a, like a tukang kayu kind of shop, where that you have people with saws and you hear grinding and machine at the back. That's very intimidating. You go some places, you see, they've got like professional prostheses. They're coming. They show like all the high-tech equipment. They show like posters of people running, and they show people, being mobile. So I think the prostheses also have a role to play. And people like myself and people who are, who want to lead an active life, I think, we are in a position to play a role. I think today I'm playing a role. I'm very, so I think the good news is it's getting better, it's getting easier, people expect more, and we should all, up our game to make sure that we don't just do whatever we've been doing for the past 20, 30 years. Technology is changing, expectations are changing, and therefore, I think I'm very excited. Yeah? It's a good development that's happening today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chong. I'm calling upon Dr. Noranida to give a certificate of appreciation to Mr. Chong Wei Tatt. Thank you very much. Now I invite Dr. Noranida to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Wei Tatt, for the inspiring talk. Indeed, he is a very good support in all ISPO Malaysia activities. I'm forever thankful for Wei Tatt and for our next guest here, Mr. Khaiful Hafiz, also known as One Leg KH. He studied mechanical engineering at the University of Wisconsin, and currently he is a palm oil mill engineer and has been for almost 15 years as an engineer. In November 2005, he was hit by a 10-tire lorry and had his leg amputated from the knee down. However, that did not stop him from continuing his career as a mill engineer and also living an active lifestyle. He will now present his very active lifestyle, and here please welcome Mr. Hafiz to the stage.
Hello everyone. First of all, thank you for having me. I think majority of the, well, not majority, part of the audience here probably have heard me, have seen me somewhere. Okay, but I would like to take this opportunity to share my story. Okay, so the basic fundamental question that we ask ourselves is, who am I, or who are we? You know, I always ask myself this every single day. You know, when I was in college, when I was still young, so I asked, who am I? What I'm gonna do in the next 5-10 years? So this is me somewhere. Okay, so that's this is yeah, when I was in primary school. This was when I was in high school. This was when I was in Wisconsin. As you can see, I was on my way towards becoming a very, you know, I had a clear path ahead of me. I know what I'm going to do when I get back. I know what I'm going to do in the next 5 years. And then suddenly, this arrived. So basically, in November 2005, I was on my way to the office on my motorbike, because at that time I was riding a big bike, but riding a big bike to KL doesn't make sense, so I rode a small bike, and I was hit by a dead tire lorry. So what happened was, well, this is not the lorry that hit me. This is from a Google image. What happened was, he hit me from the back. I went underneath the lorry and out from the rear axle. It was a miracle that I survived, and I was conscious all the way from the time that they picked me up, put me in an ambulance. That was 7:30 in the morning, and I had my operation at 1:30 in the afternoon. So the whole 6 hours, I can feel every single pain. The pain felt undescribable. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so all right. So okay, this was me in the hospital. Because I was conscious, I did not allow the doctor to amputate me then. That I had an argument with the doctor. The doctor said, "Oh, you have to accept the fact that you already lost your leg." And I told the doctor, "Doctor, you also have to accept the fact that you have to save my leg." Me being the hard-headed guy that I am, you know, always arguing, I tried to look at it from the positive side. I said, maybe the leg can be saved. So the first operation, they tried to save it, it didn't work. Second operation, they tried to save it, it didn't work. Third operation, they tried to save it, it didn't work. So the doctor told me, Hafiz, we have arrived at the junction. Okay. Now you can continue and try and save the leg, which will take about 12 or 13 more operations. At the end of the day, it might not be able to be saved, or you can amputate it today. I told the doctor, allow me to sleep on it, you know, pray to God. Maybe He will give me some sort of sign. So in the morning, I told the doctor, I talked to God. So we tried 3 times, it didn't work, so I know I'm destined to lose my leg. So please go ahead with the operation. Okay, so cut things short, I got my leg amputated. I was in the hospital for 13 days. I was back home for 6 months because funny thing is, the amputation was the first wound to heal. I have other injuries that took longer to heal. Okay, so this is me. What's that? Wheelchair shopping. Yeah, wheelchair shopping, because during this time, my only option to move was a wheelchair. Okay, so then I got my prosthetic from a prosthesis, but in 2006, information is not as free-flowing as it is now. I had to do my own research. Internet was not at the edge of your fingertips, so I had to ask my cousin to do some research for me. I don't even have any streamings at home at that time, and I was stuck on the bed. But I was determined that I don't want to live like this. I don't want to live on the bed. I don't want to live on a wheelchair. I want to live the life that I had planned back when I was in college. So, okay, this is the same wheelchair that I bought, but this is in Sepang Circuit, Sepang International Circuit. I was the first amputee to ever lap the Sepang Circuit on a motorcycle. This was back in 2007. At that time, I was, this actually happened because of a chat that we had during a meeting with my friend. It was a dare actually. They said, "Oh, why don't you try and ride in Sepang?" I said, "Is that a dare?" I said, "Yeah." So I took the dare, and there I was, 2007. Yeah, that's me. This is me on another bike. As you can see, I was the first to sport the disabled logo on my motorcycle. I was proud to wear the logo because whenever I went back into the pit, I took off my leathers, I took off my leg, and people's jaw dropped because they got passed in the circuit by a one-legged guy. Okay, this is me on another bike, also with the disabled logo. Again, me on a different bike. Okay. So after Sepang Circuit, I decided to ride further than just KL or Genting. So this is me in Thailand. I was also the first amputee ever to cross multiple Asian borders on a motorcycle, because nobody else has ever done it before, so I can claim that I'm the first. This is me with my wife, who is also here supporting me. This is at the Myanmar border, Mesot. This is in Thailand. I rode to the Golden Triangle all by myself back in 2013. It was a 11-day journey up and down. Triangle. Okay. Okay, so I had, because I've been riding for, even before I lost my leg, so motorcycle has been my passion, and I got that checklist crossed, so I figured what would be next. So next I challenged myself, can I run with this leg, because I know that this leg, this is a basic pin lock with a basic foot, but I wanted to challenge myself. I said, can I run with this leg? So this is back in 2012. It was a 10K Brooks run, my first ever run ever since I became an amputee, and I managed to finish the 10K run. And then I've been running ever since. This is in 2017, I think. Okay, and then other than running, I still wanted to challenge myself. I said, I can do more. It's not just riding bikes or running. So I started doing mountain biking. This is in Putrajaya Challenge Park. This is off-road cycling. Okay. Still with the basic pin lock and basic foot. This is one of the jamboree that I done. Okay, then what else can I do to challenge myself? I still wasn't satisfied. I knew I can do more. So I just tried rock climbing. So as you can see, I look quite good on camera. Okay, so after doing a lot of things, I think the media started to pick up. So this is me back in 2007. This is in Harian Metro. This is also under Prudential. I think this is the thing that we did in UM. Okay, and then other than newspaper, I'm also on TV sometimes. Okay, this is me talking about the safety while riding big bike. Okay, I was also featured on Astro Go Beyond ads. They wanted somebody to showcase pushing beyond, so they took me. This is me rock climbing in Batu Cave. Okay, now this riding motorcycle, running, cycling, rock climbing, this is a hobby. This is not, I mean, this is my passion, a hobby, but I wanted to do more than that. This is just for personal satisfaction. But what can I do to actually help other people? So I also do motivational talk. You know, I give talk to schools, to higher learning education centers. You know, I talk to universities. Just sharing my story so that people don't. I want to show people that you shouldn't give up. Even if life give up on you, you shouldn't give up. So this is me in one of my sessions. The kids love me because they see a one-legged guy on a motorcycle. Okay, so that's me interacting with a group of people. And then I also have spent some time interacting with other amputees. And there are many success stories that I can share, but I wanted to give 2 examples. One is this guy. He saw my video on YouTube. He's been riding since he was young, but he was hit by a motorcycle coming back from buying breakfast for the family. He lost his leg. He wanted to ride motorcycle, but he doesn't have anywhere to go or who to refer to. Then he contacted me, and I went to his house. So that's, I told him that please don't stop whatever you're doing, don't stop because biking is your passion. So that's him. After about a year, he started riding again, and this was maybe 7 years ago. So he's been riding ever since. This is me and my wife. We visited Adik Aisyah. She was on the media a lot a few years ago. She lost her leg due to a motorcycle accident as well. We went to her house just to give support. And now this is my other success story. I was contacted by this lady. She's a Marine, US Marine. She lost her leg in Iraq, and she wanted to ride back on a motorcycle. She asked me how. So this is, oh sorry, this is her. She got back on her bike. Okay, so back to the question, who am I? I think the perspective has changed now. I see myself as a different person. I see myself as the real Iron Man, you know, because not only that, I just want people to know that life does not end when you think it has ended. You know, I want people to know that there's always a brighter future ahead of you, only if you're willing to push. So I think I don't want to ramble for too much. Thank you very much. This is my tagline since 2007. So you can find me on my blog, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khaiful. I open the floor for 1 or 2 questions.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I was very impressed. I'm Kazuhiro Sakai from Japan. I work for the International Society for Prosthetics and Orthotics. And my question is about the Amputees Association. So there is one of the biggest amputees association in the world, which is called IC2A. I was wondering if you have some idea to establish the Amputees Association in Malaysia so that you can share your experience with other amputees, and sometimes you can send your message as an association to the government or to professional bodies like that. So is there any idea for the organizing such kind of association? Because this question, because the former presenter, Mr. Chong, as well, and you, I believe that you have a strong leadership to do that. So any opinions from you?
All right, okay, thank you for the question. In fact, that building a community, like Mr. Wei Tatt said, has been my goal ever since I lost my leg. You know, that's why I set up my YouTube channel, I set up my blog, so that people can read and can view, and we can get our voice across. I think personally, I don't know about in general, but personally, I have been trying to get my voice across, especially to other amputees. That's why I go and meet them. You know, I don't want them to go through the hardship that I went through, just like Wei Tatt, in choosing our leg, so that they can know where to go to get a leg. But so far, I don't know about the acceptance or how far across the message have been heard. But by the example that I've given, even if a US Marine somewhere in Kentucky can hear me, I hope that people in Malaysia can hear me as well. In terms of setting up a community here in Malaysia, I think me and Wei Tatt, we are open, but that is above, not say our pay grade, but that has to be from maybe, because if you want to talk about setting up something formal, that has to, I mean, in Malaysia there's steps and procedures. Me and Wei Tatt, we can set up a Facebook page or you know, a WhatsApp group, but setting up something formal requires assistance and involvement from a lot of parties, which I agree with Wei Tatt. This forum like this is a very good start. This is probably the best place to start, because we have doctors, we have prostheses, we have future prostheses or future doctors, and we have multiple audience. And then we have the end users as well, like me and Wei Tatt, above knee and below knee amputee. So I think we welcome any effort to start up some sort of community or forum like this, but it has to be done hand in hand. Don't just start it for the first 6 months and then be quiet for the rest of until forever. So it's a continuous effort. That's what me and Wei Tatt we have been doing. You know, I have been doing this since 2007, and I still been doing it now. I want people to hear my voice, get the message across, tell them that life is not over, even if you lost your limbs. But we can only do so much. You know, that's why myself, I leverage on social media, because I think that can get the message further, as opposed to maybe a formal newspaper cuttings or whatnot. Did I answer your question? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Good luck.
Any other question? Maybe we can take one more. Inquiries?
So basically, I'm strongly support what the professor mentions about the amputee associations for the Malaysians, and then basically for rehabilitations, almost each hospital that we have to have rehab doctors, we have what's so-called a support group. But coordinating to develop an associations, we need support from you, both of you here. So to coordinate to become a national associations, I think can be done. What you need is minimum of 7 states that have a registered members. You can develop as a national association. I strongly support. We need an amputee association for all countries, because these will portray the demands to the governments, okay, to coordinate more amputee rehab programs.
Thank you, Doctor. Again, Doctor, I think you know my number, kan? We've met before. So I'm open. For me, I'm open. I think Mr. Wei Tatt also is open for this. If you can guide us the way, please make it happen. Because again, our voice can only reach so far. I mean, our social media alone can only reach so far. But as an association, if we work hand in hand, I think we can reach more and help more people, which is what the end goal is. We want to help people get back on their feet, live their life as they were before, or even better.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khaiful. Can maybe we still have time for one more question? If any? No? So if no question, thank you very much, Mr. Khaiful. Please remain on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give again a big applause to both of them, Mr. Chong Wei Tatt and Mr. Khaiful, for a very inspiring and motivating speech. I would like to invite Dr. Noor Hida to give a certificate of appreciation to Mr. Khaiful.